Hi, it's Tanya with Red Cardinal Crafts, and welcome to CRAFTMAS Day 1. Years ago, I made a 12 Days of Christmas album. I sold it, and I believe it was Miss Betsy that bought it from me, and I always wished I had made a second one. Well, I thought this year I would finally do CRAFTMAS. I've been wanting to do this for years. I would do the 12 Days of Christmas album that I did all those years ago. I do have this for the covers. So I just dug through my stash, and this is what I'm working with. I will be doing 1 page a day for the 12 days of Christmas, and by the end, we'll have an album. I'm going to have all the artwork in my shop, so you can purchase it there. Obviously, you'd have different Christmas papers that I do, but the little turtle dove, the 7 swans a swimming, like all those will be my drawings that I used last time. I actually have to redraw them because I don't know, I think I just did them by hand. I didn't have an iPad at that point. The link would be down below. And yeah, so let's get started. Need some chipboard. I have 8.5 by 11 chipboard. And this is a 7 by 7 inch album. Covers and the spine out of these 2 pieces of chipboard. Just measure those out. So you need 7 by 7. So that will make a square, and I've already cut these out earlier this morning. So there's your 7 by 7. And then you'll have a 2.25 inch by 7. Okay, so you'll need 1 of those and 2 of the 7 by 7. So you cut those out. And then I do everything with black paper. You can use white paper, you can use brown paper, but I like using black with all of my stuff. And the paper I use is just the Recollections from Michael's. I use the 110 pound. It's just a nice thick paper. So for today, we're going to make the album, and we're going to make the day 1, the first day of Christmas, right? So you're going to take your pieces of black, and you want them to be 8.5 by 9.75. So the width is 8.5, and this will be 9.75. So you want that in 2 pieces of those measurements. So 8.5 by 9.75. And we're going to score this at, okay, I'm just looking at my notes. I didn't think I made notes, and I'm very glad I did. Okay, so we're going to score this because of the thickness of the chipboard. We want like a little bit of an edge. So you're going to score it at 5/8 and then again at 3/4. Okay, so it's just going to make like a thin little thing. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Okay, so 5/8 and again at 3/4. And 5/8 and again at 3/4. So you just do that on the 3 sides. You don't have to do it on this other side because these 2 papers are going to overlap, and that's going to make our cover. So, oops, I did that wrong. Okay, 5/8 and 3/4. 5/8. 3/4 and 5/8 and 3/4. All right, you're going to cut from this one to that one, so to the farthest point. See what I mean? Okay, and you're going to do that on both corners. So cut from the farthest line to the farthest line. And I'll do it on this one and this one. All right, now we can put the scoreboard out of the way for a minute. And now you're gonna bend your paper on those lines. So it's a little tricky to get that extra line. But just so it's doing this. Okay, so do that on all the sides. God, I have Taylor Swift's Opalite song in my head, and I don't know the words. It just recently came out. So all I've got is Opalite. What? That's all I got in my head, and it just keeps playing over and over again. Okay, so do that with the first piece, and then we'll do it with the second one. So you're just creasing it on the lines that you made. So try to be careful, but it's not the end of the world if you kind of crumple it. Kind of like what I'm doing now. Because it's sort of hard to score when two lines are that close to each other. All right. Okay, so now we're going to take one of our chipboard pieces, and we're just going to test first, okay? So we're going to fold it up, and then you just have to figure out the corners. So what we're going to do, so it's not too bulky, we are going to cut one of the corners off. So right here, we're going to cut, I think, sorry, it's trial and error here. I did one earlier just as a test. Let me see what I did. Okay. So you're going to cut off. I have to see what I did. So we're going to cut on the outside line. So we have a score here and we have a score here. So you're on the second one. And then we are going to cut straight up, like basically cut this little triangle in half. Okay, and that's how you get that piece. So do that on both of them. So you cut right there, and then what did I do? Oh, and then and then cut the middle of the triangle. Is that what I did? God, I don't even know what I did. There. Oh yeah, and then just cut that triangle off. Okay, so one more time, here we go. We're gonna cut up to the line there, and then we're gonna cut that triangle in half. All right, okay. You might have to rewind that a couple times if you didn't catch that. All right, so now when we put our chipboard down, we're going to put glue all over the back of it here, and then you're going to curl it up so it's actually sitting right at the inside line, and then this little gully thing that we've created is that part here for the side. Got it? Okay. Now to make this nice and even, we're going to put the inside, we're going to do the side first, then we're going to curl in, no wait, should we do it this way? No. So we're going to curl in the side. Then we're going to tuck that little triangle in and fold it up. So then your corner is going to look like that. Okay? Because if we take that triangle off, then you're going to have a little corner that's opened. So this just kind of gives it a little bit... Sorry, my nails are so dry and I just ate an orange, so I've got dry orange fingers, if you know what I mean. All right, so your corners are going to be like that. Got it? Okay, so let's just do this. So put glue all on the back of your chipboard. And then that is going to lay down like that. And then put glue on this end piece. And I use tacky glue. I've used that for years. I like it. It works. It holds. Oops. And it sticks really fast. Okay, so make sure you've got that nice edge along the side here. This is my funny piece where I started to score in the wrong spot. All right, and now leave the outside edges for now. Then we're going to do the same with this piece. And we're going to glue that down. Because then we have to figure out how to get the middle in there, which I'm sure I probably was supposed to score. But we'll figure that out when we get there. All right, so then stick this one down. And remember when you're gluing it down to leave that extra little line so that when it curls over, then you see it along the edge. Okay, then you can glue that edge. So now you've got your edges folded over, and we're going to be putting this down right here, but we want it to be able to crease and then have this at the end. So let's do a score. Let's see if we can do this on the scoreboard again. All right, so I want to be able to score right along the edge. And then another 1/8 of an inch over, I think is what we're doing. Because then that allows these to turn. Okay, that works. All right, so you need another score at the end that's just the 1/8 inch wide. So we probably could have done that at the beginning, but I totally forgot how I did this. All right, and same with this one. So we just want to lay it on your scoreboard and score right next to the chipboard, and then just move over slightly to get your 1/8 of an inch score. Then you're gonna fold that up against the book or against the chipboard. It's not a book yet. We're getting there. All right. So now those are going to overlap, and the side of our book will be like this, but we can put another piece of chipboard, or not another piece of chipboard, another piece of black paper at the end to cover all that up. So don't worry about that. But now we have to place this so that this is going to bend up. This is laying flat, and then this side is going to bend up. So what's happening with your chipboard is it's coming in at the end of the covers. Like right like this, okay? Not like that, not a gap, just butt it up right against there, okay? And then your book can open and close, and that's enough space. So the way we're gonna do that is I'm gonna take the one that's on the right and I'm gonna glue this piece down onto here. So I'm just gonna put glue, 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 glue. And then make sure you still have that gap. So when you go to glue it, push this all against that line and then make sure the cover lands on top of it. If you know what I mean. Okay, like that. And there is a little gap in between, but that's because the cover is going to go up there. All right, and now we just want to take this whole piece. We're going to put glue on this section here. And now we're just going to fit this in. And again, this is going to rest on top of here. So when you close it, just bring it in. Like that. Okay. So you're going to have something that looks like this. And it'll close nicely. There's your book so far. There's our edge, but we're gonna wrap a thing around it once we get our paper on top and everything. All right, now we have to tuck in all this paper. So bring in the little triangle, just fold it in a little bit, and then you're gonna flip it up so that your edge is like this. Okay? And then we're gonna have pattern paper over the top of it, so you're not even gonna really notice that edge. So we're gonna put glue on the triangle, glue all that first little strip of paper, and then we're gonna flip it up. And this will just crease. Okay. So glue that. And we'll keep working along. I'll just keep going on this side. So glue all along that piece. And then put glue on the outside of the triangle, so when that folds in, you get some glue on it, and then we just squeeze it down. I got a little piece that's sticking out there. There we go. And then again, that part's gonna crease like that. All right, and then flip it around and do the same with the other pieces. Let's put glue. I've got glue on the inside of the triangle, glue on the outside of the triangle, and then just tuck it in and flip. I just looked up to make sure I was recording, because that would have sucked. Okay. And this just creases. And see when that closes, it makes such a nice edge. All right. And then gonna turn it this way, put glue on the outside of that little triangle. Glue along here. And then flip. All right. So nice. Glue on my bone folder. Now I'm getting it on everything. Alrighty. Yay. Okay, so now we need paper in the middle, or to cover up this part. We're not going to glue these ones yet, but we'll cut them. So we want these squares to be 7 inches by 7 inches. And then these are going to cover right like this. Okay, so you need 2 of those. I cut my chipboard earlier with this trimmer, and I think my blade is angry at me, but that's okay. It's all right. It's fine. I have a new blade. I'll change it in a little bit. Okay. So these are going to be on here, and then we need a piece for the middle, but the middle is going to be our binding for the pages of our album. So when we glue this down, this is going to be right to the edge, but it's going to cover up this nicely. And we're going to put pattern paper on it as well. But this first page on the, like this is the cover. So on here, this is going to be the first day of Christmas. This one's going to be the 12th day of Christmas. So here we're going to have page 2 and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we need 5 things to hold the pages. So just put this aside for now. And we're going to get, whoops, whoa, crash. We're going to get another piece of paper. We're going to trim this to 7 inches. So we want the 11-inch length, so leave that. And we're just going to trim it at 7 inches. Okay. Now we have to score this to make our binding. So it's going to be like an accordion binding. I always lose the bone folder. Oh, it's right here. Okay. So just follow along with these measurements. All right. So put it lengthways at the longest part this way. We're going to score at 3/4. We're going to score at 1 3/4, 2 1/8. And what this is doing is it's giving us 1/4 of an inch between the pages, and you'll understand once we score. Then you want, okay, so we have 3/4, 1 3/4, 2 1/8. We need 3 1/8. Then we need 4 1/8, 4 1/2, 5 1/2, 6 1/2, 6 7/8, 6 7/8, 7 7/8, 8 7/8, 9 1/4, and 10 1/4. All right. So now we're going to start folding. Okay, bend that away from you. Then this next one, we're gonna bend back. So this is what we have so far. So the 3/4 we tucked under, now we went this way, and it really doesn't matter. I mean, just as long as you're scoring it. So these sections that are 1 inch on either side, those are gonna go together. And then the 1/4 inch is gonna be down on the ground. Take the next 1 inch section and fold that. Take the next 1 inch sections and fold those together, and take this last one and fold that. All right, so what you've ended up with is 5 little peaks. Okay, and that is our binding. So that's going to be put together like this. So score it really, really well so that it bends properly. And then it's just easier to work with. So make sure your lines are creased. All right, so you're gonna end up with something that looks like this, okay? For the ends, let's just glue this little flap at the end. Put glue on that. We're gonna push it up against this one. And stuff is going to go over this, so don't worry if you get glue on it. No one's going to see it. And then you're going to do that for the inch sections. So you're going to go in here, some glue, and glue the inches together. Okay, and then do the next inches, put those together. So it's looking like this so far. Okay, and that 1/4 inch gap allows for the pages to be a little bulky with all the little things we're gonna put on there. All right, now you're gonna glue the next 2 inches together. And then you're going to glue that last little piece to here. So just put glue on this outer piece. And glue that. All right, so here you go. Here's your little binding. Like that. Okay, now bring your book back. scoreboard can move aside. All right. And then when this is sitting on here, you're going to have like a 1/4 of an inch here to allow for the front pieces and a 1/4 of an inch here to allow for space for the back pieces. Okay, so this doesn't fully cover, so we can do glue on here. I mean, you could just take a really long piece and do it like that, I suppose. But I'm not going to do that. Okay, let's take our 7x7 pieces. And we're gonna glue them down and make sure it's not coming over the edge. But glue them close to the edge, but not over. Oh, that's so nice. There. See, it makes it nice and finished. All right, and then do the one with your other piece. Glue, glue, glue. And then lay that one down. Right to the edge, but not going over. All right, now for the middle piece in between here, you're going to want a piece of paper that's 5 1/4 by 7. So I think we have, there's our 7 inches. So now we need 5 1/4. Okay, and this is going to go in the middle, but we're going to score it first. So we're going to score it at 1 1/2 and 3 3/4. Okay, and then that leaves us a nice 1 1/2 inch at the sides. Okay. All right, and now this is going to go in the middle here. This is going to come up. This is going to come up, and then you're going to glue it to the sides. Now, when I glue a thing like this, a piece like this, put glue all over it. All right, now you're going to make sure it's in the center. And then you're going to bring up one side, and you're going to bring up the other side. And I just kind of work it back and forth and stretch it, smooth it out so there's no bubbles along here. And then lay it flat and just kind of push. You just kind of have to go back and forth so that it will bend nicely, but it's also glued down nicely, because you want your book to be able to close, but this you want to lay flat, but also be able to open. So see, it slides to fit there. So it's almost like you gotta stretch the paper a little bit, because you want it to bend, but you don't want it to lift up and make like a bubble underneath there. So work it, and like that. So this one just keeps sliding a little bit. So just as the glue is drying, and again, we're still going to have pattern paper over that, so it's okay if you see a bit of glue, but You just have to open it and close it multiple times just to make sure it's working. And I'm just going to pause here for 1 second. I have to check on a delivery that's due any minute. Hang on 1 sec. Okay, I actually just took a break for a little bit and I'm back. So now I'm just bending this and you can see that a little bubble is forming. So you just kind of have to push it. This is going to be covered with paper anyway, so you're not going to see that. Yeah, that one, that bubbled pretty bad. So I'm just going to peel it open. All right. It's all good. These things happen. And it's fine. It's paper. It's not the end of the world. And it's going to be covered up anyway with more paper. But I think I left it dry too long on its own. And then it bubbled. This side I think is okay. This side is salvageable. Yeah, it's just that little bump. Yeah, that'll be okay. And this one. All right. Okay, so there's our book. Now we're going to glue our binding in it. Oops, this is still not sticking. All right, so we're going to glue down our binding. So you only want to put glue on these 4 lines, and then you're going to center it right in that space. So you want to have it centered, and you want to have like 1/4 of an inch on each side of the binding. Okay, so when it goes in there. This piece is just making me crazy. All right. Okay, so let's put glue on all this part. And then we're gonna center it. That just, hang on. This is just acting up. Why? All right, that's just an angry bit of paper. That piece of paper said, I don't want to be an album. I want to go back to being a tree. Wow. All right, I've made albums before and this has never happened. But I'm glad it is happening, because then I can show you guys that it's all good and that it's really no big deal. All right, that's just going to behave like that. I don't know why, and that frustrates me a little bit, but pull it up, try again. Why are you being the way you are? All right, let's try again. 3rd time's the charm. All right, let's try this again. So weird. No, it is just gonna act up. Okay. Well, it's fine, because like I said, it's gonna be covered up with paper, but I just don't know why it's doing that. Oh well, what can you do? Okay, in the meantime, this stuff's drying. All right. So glue on here, then we're gonna center it. Like I said, make sure there's like a 1/4 inch on each side. Make sure it's properly centered. All right, there we go. All right, now I am going to do paper for the front here. So these are my covers. I'm not going to put those on till the very end. But we're going to have a partridge in a pear tree. So I think I might use this paper just as like the background. And yeah, I think they'll be cute because then we're going to have the tree in the middle. So let me trim this. So our thing is 7 by 7, and I want it to come over to the edge for sure. So yeah, 7. We'll do 7 by 7 for your paper here. And I definitely want the little trees at the bottom. So I'm going to trim it right there and keep all your scraps because you'll use those for tags and stuff as we're working here. So this is going to be 7 by 7. And I don't have any tags or anything on the first page. It's just the pear tree. So my artwork is going to be available in my shop, and I will do a colored version and just a black and white outline. And that way, depending on your paper, if you want to color the images a little bit different, you can. All right, so this is going to be this piece. So we're going to glue this down. And I will have all the artwork for all the images and things. And like the numbers for the page. I'll have those done too. All right, so this is going to be the first page. And so this is the first day of Christmas. So we're doing the partridge in a pear tree. So I have my iPad where I have been drawing. And let me just bring this up. So you're going to receive this. You're going to receive the partridge in a pear tree. This is the tree colored, and I have an outline around it. Let me just bring up the white. So when you do this, you're going to cut out this oval, this oval that's in the middle, and then you're going to cut out all this space, and then you're going to cut out the tree and then the partridge. So I'm just going to go print this off. I need the tree to be small enough to fit in that space. So the tree, if it's 7 inches, the tree should probably be about 5 inches. So let me squish this down. I don't have all my shading done on my tree yet because I literally just drew this yesterday. So let me take 2 seconds and finish coloring this. I saved these as a PDF file because I did it as a JPEG, and this is how it turned out, but this is the color it should be. All right, now I could take the time to hook up my Scan and Cut, but I'm not going to do that. We're just going to cut these out. And with my stuff, I like to leave like an edge around it, and then I back it with black paper. So the black line is there, so you can cut up to the black line, you can cut off the black line, which is what I'm going to do. I'm just using it as a guide because I will back this with black paper. I just find it makes it nice and thick and sturdy, especially where this is a spinner card. And it's going to get manhandled. Cut out the tree. And now you need to cut out this oval in the center, and you're going to leave this oval intact. So let's just, we got to poke a hole into this section here just to get your scissors in. I'll use some smaller scissors. Okay, and you're going to cut out this oval. All right, so there's our oval, and now we have to cut out, but stay on this side of the black line. All right, so there's our tree. And then that's our oval, and then our partridge is gonna go around, around, around. But I'm gonna back this with black paper. I'm gonna back this with black paper and back this one. And it'll just make it sturdier. So our little partridge here, just glue down to some black paper. It just makes it nice and thick. And then when I do this, I just leave a little edge of black. Okay, and then for this part, same thing, and you can use all your little scraps that you have left over. Too much glue. If you use too much glue on the black paper, it will kind of dry and you can see it. The other thing you can do is if you have a little bit of white edge on your thing, you can just take a black marker and just color along the edge and cut the black paper fairly close to the edge of the design, just because you'll end up, if you make it too wide, you'll end up closing up a bit of the hole for this. Like if you make your paper too wide, then there's no room for the, you know, the little thing to go. Actually, I'm just gonna keep mine really close. This one, same thing, but let's do the marker first. You're going to do the same thing. You're just going to cut out around the tree. I don't like when I get too much glue oozing out. All right, so with the tree, I will leave an edge. With the oval, I'll cut really close to the circle. And again, we just have to make a hole for your scissors to fit through. Just make it enough of a hole that it's easier to work with. So this I'm going to cut right to the edge. But layering the paper like this just makes it stronger and just more solid. All right, so there is our tree, there is our oval, and here is our partridge. Okay, I am gonna run to Michael's and get some Zots, and I'll be right back. Let's go to Michael's. I need to focus. I only need Zots. Only need Zots. Alrighty, I am back. It's been hours, but I'm back. All right, so got my Zots. Went to Michael's. And, okay. So we need this part raised up and we need this part raised up. So I guess the easiest way to do this is to Hang on, I'm just bringing up my screen of my photo of how I had this. Okay. So I want it to be about here. So I need to do zots. And zots are just, if you don't know, they're just raised little bumps of glue. Ooh, I just remembered. Don't put them too close to the middle because stuff is going to be going around here and you don't want it to get caught on the edge. And I might just take one of these and cut it in half. And then put it on the bottom. All right, now very carefully, because you got one shot at this, place it on your page. And I'm gonna center it like that. All right, and then you want these on the bottom. On the bottom, what am I saying? You want these in here. And they're hard to get off if you don't put them in the right spot. I'm so stuck to everything. Ugh. Okay. And now that is gonna go there. Okay, I have this powder stuff. And I'm gonna, it just comes out of this little brush. So I'm just gonna go in and make sure it's touching the zots. I should have did this before I stuck it down. And it just takes the stickiness off the edge of the little glue dots. And I'm saying the brand name, I'm saying Zots, but they're glue dots, basically. So if you're out looking for them and no one knows what the heck you're talking about. Okay, so you just have to, and if you don't have this little weird thing, this is EK Tools. And it just has this weird little powder in it. You can just probably use baby powder. Hi, it's Tanya from the future. So I normally do spinner cards with pennies, and we don't have pennies in Canada anymore. And I tried to use a dime and I tried to use a nickel, and it just wasn't working. So I just ended up cutting out little circles out of black paper instead. So that'll be part of the thing that you guys will print and cut out. I'll have the exact measurement for you. But you need something that is raised up. Like you need the glue dot to be raised up because you need it to be in between and be like a track for these. So let me try doing this. I'm gonna take a glue dot, just cover it with the paper, makes it easier to cut. And I'm just gonna make it into like a little piece. This is a little bit smaller than just the dot. Make it a little bit smaller. Okay. Now I'm going to put it on here. Okay, this should be better. Stick it on like that, again with the powder. All right, now let's try. Oh, I think we got it. Okay, so that's what we need to do. Just a little circle. And then I'm going to use the rest of that dot that I had. I'm going to stick it on here. And then I'm going to stick on the partridge. And now he can go around the tree. All right, stick him down good. And he can rotate and he can go around the tree. Okay, so just a little piece of paper. So I will make sure with everything I put a little circle for that. Okay. All right. So with these, I'm just gonna cut a little rectangle. And another little rectangle. Like that. And I'm going to take a little triangle piece. And we're just making little flags to go on the paper. So you can use whatever paper you have. Like that. And now before, when I did this, I had them going this way. And it was just to make it a little fun, little thing. All right, so I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna cut them. There we go. And then they're just gonna live here. And I'm gonna back them with black. And leave a little edge of black around them. Like that. That will go there. There we go. So these will just go on here like this. Our partridge can still go flying around. Now I could do them like that. I could put them up here. Ooh, I like that better. It's a little different than how I had it on my first one, but I like that. So we're doing that. And same with you, if you're doing stuff and you want it to look a little bit different than I'm doing it, go for it. That's your album. If you preferred them down here or whatever, go for it. All right, now I want to put a little like journaling section. And so here's the red, and then I'm going to do a piece of white on top of that. That works. I was going to put black behind the white, so let me just fix that. Whoop. I just find it makes the things pop a little bit more. All right. So this is going to go right here. And then we'll have our number. So now I have to design our numbers. Oh yeah, those turned out so cute. Okay. The first one. I think I have a circle cutter. All right, I have two different sizes. Nice. And then I'll use the bigger one to do the black circle. So these are EK tools. This is a 2 1/4 size, and this is a 2 1/2 size. All right, look at that. Oh my God. It's so cute. I love it. So now, I think I'll do, no, I don't want to do the cover because if it gets messy while I'm working, I don't want to do that. Okay, so before I head downstairs to make dinner, I'll just show you that I went through all the circles and cut them out and glued them. So those are all done and ready. And this is still making me crazy that it's like messy. So I'm using a thick paper to go over it. And then it'll just help cover it a little bit. So I'm just going to bring it right to the edge. So this was a 7 by 7 piece of paper. There, now we don't see it at all. Now I'll be able to sleep tonight. Alrighty. Okay, so day 1 is down. And yeah, join me tomorrow for the second day of Christmas. All right. Take care, guys. I hope everyone is safe, happy, and healthy. And I'll be back with some more videos soon. All right. Take care, guys. See you tomorrow.